Uh, Good afternoon, my colleague, our August participants of the second online training organized by Career Service and Polytechnic Advancement Center, Nuvo Mali Polytechnic Zaria, in collaboration with the International Institute of Online Educations, National Center, ABU Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. Today is 16th of December 2025. Today, inshallah, we are going to take our fifth sessions or seminar presentations titled AI Utilizations in Academia. Today, because of gender sensitivity and equality and everything, and especially, AI is neither female nor male. Our facilitator, a female facilitator, and also a seasoned engineer, professional engineer, in person of Dr. Nafisa Usman, a lecturer with computer engineering. Without too much waste of time, I will invite Dr. Nafisa Usman have the floor for her presentation. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Much.
As introduced, I'm Nafisa Shehu Usman, and I'm here on behalf of the International Institute of Online Education. Here at Ahmadu Bello University. Well, the National Center is here at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. So I think I will start by sharing my slides, my screen. I do hope this can be an interactive session. If you have any questions, even if it is just midway, please call my attention to it. Let me just share my screen. I do hope we can all see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So before I start talking on the ethical considerations in AI usage, I will first want to walk us through the mind map, the roadmap of AI ethics and responsible AI. So first of all, we need to understand that AI is not just a technology. It is shaping how we learn, how we teach, how decisions are made in our research, and how students are being assessed. I feel like my network will start fluctuating very soon. Please bear with me. I will turn my camera off just in case. Okay. So this is an AI mind map. By the way, I generated this using Notebook LM. I don't know if you know it. So this is the AI ethics and responsible AI use roadmap. As I said before, it is everywhere in everything we do. Artificial intelligence is involved in every single decision we make these days. But then AI is not neutral. It learns from data, and data carries biases. It carries the biases, assumptions, and blind spots of humans. That's why we need an ethical compass to guide us. So I need you to think of AI ethics as a mind map that has three main branches. And these are the three main branches of ethical AI. So we have the core ethical principles. We have the responsible AI in education, because we are looking at AI in academia, in our educational systems. Basically, that's why we're now looking at it from the angle of education AI, responsible AI use in education, which basically, so the core ethical AI, if you're looking at it, these are the foundational values that guide all AI design and usage. This is where we're looking at fairness of use, equity, transparency, accountability, our governance, privacy, and all of that, and a lot of other branches under this transparency, fairness, and all of that. So policies. We're looking at governance. We're looking at how to establish policies and guidelines of use, privacy, how secure is our data out there, and all that. And then when you are we're looking at responsible AI use in education. Oh my God, what is happening? Okay. So we've looked at it in the core ethics. Let's look at it from the responsible AI. Is this big enough? Can we all see it, or do I need to zoom it out? We zoom in. We need to zoom it in a bit. Okay, so when we're looking at responsible AI in education, we're looking at how we as educators and how students apply AI in the classroom and learning environment. This is where how we foster, how we teach ethical mindset, use AI, how students will use AI, and then how we address the potential risks in education, which is basically what we are mostly dealing with students nowadays. Students hardly concentrate to do their work because they have AI to help them with it. And then when we're looking at the broader societal and governance challenges, we're talking about the bigger picture of AI's impact on society, jobs, and global policies. So each of these branch has subtopics, and and our concentration mostly is really going to be on the responsible AI in education, where we will explore fostering an ethical mindset in students and educators and the rest of it. So this mind map is our roadmap for the lecture for today. Everything we discuss will fit into one of these three branches. Now, so by the end of this session, you should be able to identify key ethical issues in AI. We should be able to understand the core principles of responsible AI use, be able to apply ethical guidelines in our teaching and learning, and reflect on AI's broader societal implications. We'll also explore real-world examples to make these concepts concrete and relatable. Now, let's start with what AI is. I want to believe the vast majority of us know what AI is, but just for clarification, AI is, it refers to that system that it can learn, can reason, can predict, and can make decisions based on data. So in education, AI appears in intelligent tutoring systems. Like we have systems like Gmind AI. There are a lot of tutoring AI systems out there. We have automated grading. We have chatbots, like the most common one, and that is what most students use to answer questions, to have a better understanding of principles. Then we have learning analytics. We have the generative AI tools that help draft essays, codes, and presentations. These are tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude AI, and the likes. Now, let's I will want to use a child's learning analogy because I love to use this as an analogy to explain how AI behaves and how AI understands and how AI actually learns, reasons, and predicts. So if we're looking at child's learning analogy, we understand that children learn naturally from observing patterns, just like AI. So imagine a toddler watching its mother. So when she picks up her handbag and a veil, the child predicts that as mama is going out. And then when she puts on her hijab, maybe he predicts that as it's time for prayer and mama is going to pray. So these are the things that children anticipate, and that is how they learn. And they learn this through patterns because ever since they started learning, this is what they see their mother doing or the people around them do. Oh, how you take, and then it learns language and all that. In an example is how you start teaching a child how to pick words. Like you don't start teaching a child language by using major sentences like come down from. No, you don't do that. You only tell down, sit, stand. No, we always start with one word sentences, and then if slowly that child will now start developing a sentence. You now start moving on from just one word sentences to two words, and then that is how it progresses. So over time, the child builds a model of the world based on repeated patterns. So similarly, AI observes data, it detects pattern and predicts outcomes. But here's the ethical question. What patterns is AI learning? Who created the data sets and who benefits? Who is left out of such data set? This is why ethics is essential. Um, Now look at why does ethics matter? Why does ethics in AI matter? Ethics matter because AI is not neutral. It is not without bias. So without ethics, AI may reinforce certain bias. It might represent groups of people. It might penalize students unfairly. It might violate privacy. So ethics ensures AI enhances learning without replacing human judgment. If we're looking at the core principles of AI, which are foundational for all AI applications, we look at fairness and equity. So when we're talking about fairness, fairness ensures AI does not favor one group over another unfairly. So let's divide. Let's look at bias in AI. So imagine an AI system trained mostly on images of white faces from Europe or America or Asia. So, and accents from the Western English, maybe Scottish and all that, then language patterns from America or British English. Now think about using this AI in Nigeria. Will it recognize Nigerian accents? Not necessarily. Will it fairly evaluate spoken English from Lagos or from Enugu or from Kano? That is not likely because it is trained with data that is predominantly white. So it will not necessarily understand, nor will it be able to evaluate English from places like maybe Kano, from Enugu and all that. So even within Africa, accents differ. When you're looking at Ghanaian accents, South African accents, Kenyan English, they are all unique to them. So when you're training with this AI can really enhance bias because of the data that they are being trained with. Now, bias is not only about race, it can be gender-based. So AI might associate leadership with men because maybe that is the data it was trained with. It can, like, it might consider women may be underrepresented in STEM data sets, and that might be why it will now give men priority over women. So AI has the potential to perpetuate stereotypes. The ethical response is for us to use diverse data sets, implement human oversights, and test AI in local contexts. test AI in local context. Now, transparency, when we're looking, oh God, I'm just jumping. When we're looking at transparency and explainability, many AI systems are basically black boxes. They operate as black boxes. So whatever input goes in, it's basically a garbage in, garbage out kind of system. Input goes in, output comes out. There is nothing in between. It doesn't really does anything. It doesn't really do anything with your data. Whatever you give it is what it will give you. So users cannot see how decisions are made sometimes, because despite the fact that it doesn't really change your data, there are things that actually occur because of what it is trained. It needs to carry out some logical analysis and all of that. So users don't really see how decisions are made within that system. And in education, this is dangerous. So give you another example is imagine a student receiving a low grade from AI because the lecturer decides to give AI his assessment to grade. So the students will ask why, definitely. Now the educator cannot explain the AI decision. It cannot necessarily do that. So now the ethical AI requires one to use an explainable algorithm in training, in generating its AI, and then you have to have an ability to understand decisions and transparency in the design of this AI system. And then there is also accountability. Accountability and governance. Now, who will be held responsible when AI fails? Is it the developer? Is it the institution or the educator? AI cannot take moral responsibility because at the end of the day, it is just a tool. It cannot take any moral responsibility. Humans must always be held accountable. So that is why for us to be able to hold humans accountable for any AI fields, we need clear policies and guidelines. We need to define responsibilities, and we need human-centered or human-centric oversights. We now move on to the other ethical concern when dealing with AI, which is the privacy and data protection. AI collects large amounts of data, like student records, assessment history, learning patterns, and because of all the voluntary data that we give AI out there. So there are risks involved in this. There is the risk of data breach. There is the risk of unauthorized sharing of data because you don't know your data. Who does your data belong to what and what that person is doing with your data? Then we have the misuse of personal information still. A misuse of personal information, we mostly see this in social media where somehow just because you searched for a phone, you now end up seeing all sorts of ads trying to sell a phone to you. Or maybe you start seeing ads, especially on Instagram. I encounter that a lot. You just start seeing ads of phone cases of the exact phone you are working with. Not that you ask AI or you tried updating AI with what phone you are working with. And so these are some of the ethical concerns we have because you don't know who is using your data. Somehow your data went to Google or something, and then advertising companies have access to your data. So when we're looking at some ethical practices to prevent this, we need to find a way of minimizing data collection. We need to we okay, it's just we need to find a way of minimizing data collection. We need to, and if your data has to go out, has to be in the public domain, it has to be it has to be anonymous. Your data should not be linked to you. And then we need to teach our students about data usage, and then we need to give students control over their own data. And we are now looking at responsible. Now, when you're looking at responsible AI is mostly about using AI as a tool and not as a replacement for human creative thinking and creative abilities and critical thinking. So, as educators, we have to model ethical behaviors when it comes to using AI. And in general, we have to model ethical behavior. Students must understand that AI can help you generate ideas, but submitting AI outputs as your own is totally unethical. AI can help you put your ideas and your thoughts, your critical thinking, your designs, and whatever you have in your head. AI can actually help you itemize this thing and put it in a better way to be and to make it presentable. But students should not be allowed to make AI think for them. So when we're looking at some of the ethical concerns or how ethical use, when it comes to student ethical use of AI, we need to focus our assessment on processes and not just on the product. What I mean by this is we shouldn't just give students an assignment or exams or whatever and just depend on grade them based on the outcome, the final answer of this or the product of this assessment. But what we need to grade is the process. And then we need to encourage reflection, we need to encourage reasoning, and we need to encourage practical demonstration. Now, key questions to be told that arises from things like this are, should we assess students based on what they submit or what they learn? I'm not sure if we're all following. Should we assess students based on what they submit or based on what or how they learned whatever it is that they submit? These are some of the things that we need to encourage students, and I'm always for assessing students based on how they learn, what they've learned, that is the process of learning, and not just the outcome and not just what they submitted. So process-focused assessments really preserves learning and it preserves integrity. Another ethical concern with AI is accessibility and inclusion, because not all students have equal access to devices or the internet. We might think this is an overstretch, but it's the truth. Not every student has access to the internet. Not every student has access to technology, all these devices. And for some of there are students who have access to all of these things, but really don't know how to use AI. So another ethical concern, another ethical consideration is accessibility and inclusion. And then we look at AI should not widen the digital divide. AI should not widen the digital divide, but then unfortunately, this is our reality. AI has really widened the digital divide, but it shouldn't be so. When I say AI has widened our digital divide, if you look at schools I'll not even go as far as saying in Europe and all of that, just within Nigeria, if you see the tools that students have access to in students in Lagos, students in Abuja, the tools they have access to, our students down here, say in Zaria or maybe I'm not sure how the states in the south are, so I can't really use any of those. But then I'd say a rural area in Enugu, they don't really have access to those tools. So AI has somehow widened this digital divide, and it shouldn't be so. AI should not encourage this bias. It should encourage accessibility, and it should encourage inclusion. And when we're looking at accessibility and inclusion, other alternative strategies must also be provided just in case any of these biases has been established. Now, we'll now look at practical ethical guidelines for educators where we're looking at transparency, where that is, you declare when AI is used. When even as an educator, when you use AI to develop any content, like an example, I did mention I used Notion AI to develop this mind map. So, and aside using um AI to develop this mind map, I used Notion AI. I also used AI, by the way, in generating these slides. Understand? So like we need transparency. You need to declare when AI is used. Then human oversight, we always need to review AI outputs. Don't just when you have AI help you generate whatever you're working on and AI helps you in generating that, please, we need to always review AI outputs because AI is not always right. And there are times AI tends to hallucinate. When we say hallucinate, like it can just generate output out of the blue without any basis. So we always need to review AI outputs. We need to ask AI to give us proof of where it got certain information. And that is when you'll start understanding how AI hallucinates. Because if you insist on it to give you the source of such information, it will now start telling you that it was a mistake. This information is not really right and all of that. And that is, if that is not reason enough for you to like review whatever output AI give you, I don't know what will be. So we'll also look at purpose limitations. So when I say purpose limitation is we only use AI where it adds value, not just because we want to use it. We shouldn't be over dependent on AI. Only use AI where it adds value to your work. Like say, for instance, if you are a researcher, a postgraduate student, a PhD, a researcher generally carrying out research. And I know one way AI in research adds value to me when I was carrying out my research was in literature review. You know, when you're reviewing literatures, like you have to start going through papers. What you normally start doing is search papers on your subject matter, and then you narrow it down until you narrow it down to your specific problem, the problem you are trying to solve. But there is an AI tool that can actually add value to your research where it minimizes time wasted on this research. Because from you finding the first literature to where you complete your literature review, it can take you anywhere from a year to a year and a half, if not 2 years. But with this tool, not overleaf you use in writing journals. I forgot the name of this AI tool. I'll remember it eventually and I'll mention it, inshallah. So there are tools with that particular, what is it? It's something maps. Let me just search for this. Sorry, Litmaps. Litmaps, that is the name of the so this particular AI tool will really add value to your research. It will add value because it saves you a lot of time. I'll give you an example of how to use this particular AI tool for research, and I want to emphasize my point on how it adds value. So our topic of discussion today is ethical considerations in AI, right? So if you're looking at ethical considerations in AI and you just go to Scholar and you search for ethical considerations, you'll find that you have a lot of papers and you wouldn't really know where to start from. We have a lot of papers here. Then you open one paper, well, no, it's not the one, and all of that. And so from that paper, you now start going through the You have to now start going through the literatures that were reviewed in this paper and all of that. But with lit maps, I can just search. And I'll have so many reviewed papers, right? You just go through this, whichever one catches your eye. I like to go with the most recent paper. I cannot see any paper from 2025. So I think I'll go with this paper. I did not really narrow down my topic. I should have written in education. If I have in education, it will show me the paper, and then the most amazing thing happens. It will show you all the papers that are related to this paper, all the papers that were reviewed in this paper, and then all the papers that cited this paper. And that really saves a lot of time. Instead of you now start looking for who cited this paper, you have it here already. So this is our original paper, right? This paper cited this person. It cited all of these papers are people that were cited in this paper. So I think because this is a fairly new paper, otherwise you would have seen all other outgoing arrows showing you that, indicating other journals that cited this particular paper you are looking for. So how why am I mentioning this? I'm just talking about your purpose limitation. Only use AI when it adds value to you. So tools like this really add value to you. When you are looking at tools like Overleaf, it adds value to your research. Tools like Canva, it really helps you with design. It makes your life easier. So there are so many tools out there that add value to your research or whatever it is that you are doing. But the point is, we should not depend on AI just because it is there. We should only use AI where it's necessary and where it adds value. So now when looking at also another ethical concern with AI is data protection. And then for this, we are looking at data protection. How do you protect sensitive data? How do you protect people's sensitive data on the internet? When you get their data, how do you protect it? And I know that it is quite difficult to protect people on the internet, even those that have been in the privacy data protection field all this while. It's kind of difficult to protect a person who gives his data willingly. Then we now look at equity and awareness. So when you consider bias and access, we look at skill preservation. AI should enhance and not replace learning. It should enhance learning. It should enhance learning. It shouldn't replace learning. So when you're looking at tools that help you in coding and all of that, these are tools that should be used to better your understanding, maybe break down complex topics into very simple, understandable language for the user instead of it just replacing learning, just like what we do nowadays with ChatGPT. So, and we need to have continuous reflection. That is, you have to understand that ethics is an ongoing thing. It doesn't just stop. It is an ongoing thing because as AI evolves, so should ethics. Well, the broader societal and governance challenges in AI ethics, we have like AI's ethical implications extend beyond the classroom. Like we have the fear of job displacement, automation in society, regulatory frameworks globally, and the stakeholder responsibilities. But should students be allowed to use AI I'm so sorry, my mic kind of went off and I didn't realize. Um, so we're looking at assessments in the age of AI. Okay, we've actually talked about the assessments in the age of AI, now product processes and like, oh my God, I think my headphones are running out of battery. So what we've been talking about so far is some of the biggest concerns in academic is academic honesty and academic integrity. So AI tools can write essays now, they can solve problems and even generate code. And this raises the questions, are students doing their own work or educators must consider how AI might be misused and establish clear guidelines on acceptable AI use. And then we talked about the bias and fairness where AI systems learn from data. And if the data reflects biases, the AI will too. And that's where we look at, and for example, an AI grading system that might unfairly favor certain writing styles or certain demographics, like that's ensuring fairness and avoiding discrimination is crucial in academic AI applications. We also talked about what was it? I think, yeah, privacy and data security, where we see how AI often relies on collecting and analyzing data. So protecting personal information and ensuring consent is essential. And unauthorized data usage has the potential to harm users and violate ethical and legal standards. The fourth consideration was transparency and accountability, where we looked at how AI decision making can be it's a black box kind of decision making. It's opaque, and when AI influences grades or research outcomes, it's important to understand how these decisions are made. And who is accountable if an AI makes a mistake? Is it the developer? Is it the educator or the institution itself? Then the fifth ethical consideration is actually equity and access, because not all students or institutions have equal access to AI tools. And our over-reliance on AI may widen the gap between well-resourced and under-resourced students, and that might create inequalities in learning opportunities. And then I think the sixth point we discussed so far was the impacts on learning and critical thinking. So if AI does too much for students, it can undermine learning. Learning loses its integrity. So students must engage with material critically rather than relying solely on AI solutions. And That will help in striking the right balance between assistance and independent thinking. Now, we talked about the best practices for ethical AI use in academia, although it was all within the same discussions. So we need to establish clear policies on acceptable AI usage, and that goes without saying. And we need to provide training for educators and students on responsible AI use. We also need to ensure AI tools are transparent, they are explainable, and they are free from harmful biases. Data, we need data protection. We need to protect users' data and privacy. Like, there should be a serious protection and privacy policy in place. We need to encourage AI to be used as a support tool and not a replacement for learning. Do you have any questions, please, before we continue? Do you have any questions, please, before we continue? Okay, in the absence of questions, I think I want to talk about the broader societal and governance challenges of ethical and responsible AI use, where we'll look at the impact on jobs and the economy, then autonomous systems. Yeah, we have the examples of autonomous systems here, maybe the self-driving car, its liability and accountability frameworks, then global regulations, and then role of stakeholders. How are we pushing responsibility onto designers and organizations? Then, although we have discussed that very briefly, and what policies can we have in place that will help us in establishing an ethical AI use in our educational systems? Then how do we foster ethical mindsets in both educators and students? And if I'm being honest, especially in educators. So let's just take a moment and ask ourselves how can we use AI in our studies, in our teaching? How can we use it responsibly? And then we reflect on the potential benefits, but also on the ethical obligations we all share. So that being said, let's look at its impacts on our okay, I got a question from Dr. Zaid Haruna. He says, how can students use AI tools like ChatGPT ethically without it being considered cheating? Oh, that's a $1,000,000 question. Um, Now students can use tools like ChatGPT as a learning aid, but not as a such shortcut. So now the ethical use, we need to make sure students can use AI to clarify concepts. It is supposed to help them summarize information or generate ideas for essays and projects, but not necessarily write out those essays and projects. Then that is an ethical use, an ethic that students use AI to clarify concepts, to summarize information, or generate ideas for essays and projects, right? Now, look at the unethical use. It's like just copying AI generated text directly as your submission without modification or understanding. That should be considered cheating. Um, An example is if you ask ChatGPT to explain a difficult concept in simpler terms, like when you want to understand what ethics is, it can explain this for you in simpler terms. Then you write it in your own words. If you still feel the need to use AI tool to maybe add value to whatever it is that you come up with, we need grammatical corrections and all of that, that's fine. But AI should not be used explicitly to write reports. And then when AI significant contributes to a project, when AI significantly contributes to a project or a write up that you generate, students should cite it or acknowledge its use, just like any other source. Although I don't know if our institutions have these policies in place, but I would really prefer if a student will cite, just like when you use a journal, you cite that you used AI as an assistant in generating this report. Now, the unethical part of using when you that is when you use it ethically, you cite it, and then when you use it unethically, it's just like presenting AI generated content as entirely your own work without any disclosure or anything, which is what most of us, both of us, the educators and the students, were all guilty of that. And then use AI for drafting, for brainstorming, and not for your final submission. Excuse me. An example is like, understand AI is actually excellent, especially things like ChatGPT, like Claude. They are really excellent in generating initial drafts, in generating outlines, in helping you modify your ideas. Like one of the unethical uses of these tools is when you use it to generate an idea entirely. Um, Although there are instances when, yeah, generating that idea will not be really bad, but it shouldn't do your critical thinking. That is unethical at all. So, anyways, this generative AI, they are really good in drafting outlines, in generating ideas, but students should always refine. They need to fact check and personalize this content. And then we need to avoid AI for exams or assessment answers, like using AI to answer exams, quizzes, all of these things, these are all unethical uses because these are all unethical uses of AI. So the ethical alternative, I will say, is you use AI to practice problems or simulate explanations before the exam, then you answer those independently. And then when you're developing critical thinking, students should always evaluate AI output critically. As I said earlier, you have to review whatever output AI generates because AI can make mistakes. It can misinterpret. It can misinterpret questions. It has a lot of bias. It hallucinates. So always review, cross-check whatever AI gives you. And then we always need to follow institutional guidelines. Although at this point in time, I don't think there are institutions in Nigeria who have institutional guidelines when it comes to AI usage. But this on the part of our government, on part of our educationals, on the part of our institutions, we need to have institutional guidelines so that students will be able to know exactly what is ethical and what is ethical, because the way we are moving right now, they don't really know what is ethical and what is not ethical. So in summary, AI should enhance learning and not replace it. If you use AI responsibly, acknowledging its help, critically analyzing its output, and producing your own work, it is ethical and can actually improve understanding and skills. Is this any question or it's the previous one? Okay. Still, Dr. Z says, are there risks in uploading assignments, research data, or personal details to AI platforms? Of course, there are risks. You risk putting your data out there. And it's really important for users, students, educators, anybody to be aware of these risks that are involved when you upload your assignments, research data, personal details, especially personal details, to AI platforms. Some of the risks are, we've talked about privacy and data security concerns. So your uploading assignments to AI platforms may expose your work to unauthorized access or storage. Like even if the platform claims confidentiality, breaches or data leaks are possible. Now look at your personal details. You're sharing your personal identifier, like your personal identifiers, your names, your ID numbers, your emails. This can all lead to identity theft or targeted phishing attacks. Then also have when you upload your research data, especially sensitive research that involves human subjects, this can be compromised if uploaded without without it being uploaded as an anonymous data. I believe I mentioned that before. So uploading data, even if your data is going to stay out there, make sure it is anonymous. That data cannot be linked back to you. So, and AI platforms may store or use uploaded content to train their models. This means your original incorporated, and this can pose ownership issues, especially for research papers. And there is the risk of misuse or manipulation. Once data is uploaded, it could potentially be accessed or exploited by malicious actors. We always need to put that at the back of our mind. Anything that you upload to AI, internet, it has the potential to be accessed and exploited by malicious actors. And then the sensitive data, research data could be misused it could be misinterpreted, and it could be plagiarized. Now we have the compliance and legal risks for such research projects, especially those funded or related, like clinical trials. These have strict data handling policies. When you upload data to AI platforms without approval, that may breach ethical guidelines. So universities often have policies on data sharing. Like that is upload anonymous data. You remove personal identifiers before uploading anything. You avoid sensitive content. Whatever you upload, don't upload anything that is classified or confidential. You check platform policies, understand how the AI tools trust and uses your data. Now, you need to use secure, approved, authorized, or sanctioned by your institutions responsibly. If AI contributes to your work, acknowledge it. Avoid uploading your file as assignments in info. In short, yes, AI platforms are powerful, but uploading assignments, research data, or personal details comes with real privacy, security, and legal risks. Always anonymize, make sure your data is anonymous. Always check policies, those fine prints that we always tend to not read, and I agree. Please read those, check those policies, check those terms and conditions, and use it as a supportive tool, not a repository, not use it as a supportive tool, and not a repository for sensitive material. Is there any other question? Because I think Okay. Um, I couldn't unmute myself for a while. I apologize for that. Um, so basically, I think I will do we have any questions? I think I've seen somebody wanting to be unmuted because he has a question to ask. Can you just type it in the chat box? But in the meantime, I would like to conclude today's little talk basically. Uh, so in summary,
Mala Usman, please mute your mic.
oh, I thought he was asking a question.
No, he's not asking a question. Go on, doctor.
Okay, so in summary, we looked at AI in academia, where we had looked at AI tools like ChatGPT offer opportunities to enhance learning. It enhances research and administrative efficiency. And ethical use requires academic integrity. It requires critical thinking and personal effort. So AI should support and it should not replace. Then students should use AI responsibly as a learning aid for idea generation and also acknowledge assistance where appropriate. Now, the risks of using AI platforms, we talked about uploading assignments, research data, or personal details carries privacy, it carries data security and intellectual property risks. It carries a lot of risks. So, and students, researchers, users generally must make sure that whatever data they are uploading is anonymous and cannot be traced back to them. We need to avoid sensitive content, and we need to use institutional approved platforms for when we need to upload data and all of that, although we don't really have institutional policies in place. But I want to believe this is something our institutions have been working towards. Then looking at the broader societal and governance challenges, yes, AI impacts jobs, it impacts the economy and the distribution of opportunities, which makes responsible governance critical. Although, yes, we mentioned that AI impacts jobs, it literally just impacts jobs because the fear people have generally is that AI is stealing our jobs and all of no, AI is not stealing our jobs. AI is stealing our excuses. All we need to do is learn how to use these tools to our advantage. Then we're looking at autonomous systems like self-driving cars. These raise questions. Like clear frameworks are basically essential when we start looking at autonomous systems because they pose liability and accountability issues. Then we have the global AI development. The global AI development affects international relations and requires cooperation to ensure ethical standards. We need to they ensure that ethical standards are upheld. Then we have the role of stakeholders, where we say ethical AI use is a shared responsibility. It involves educators, students, designers, institutions, policymakers, everybody. So, and policies are guidelines that help ensure AI is used fairly, transparently, and safely. Then we need to fostering the ethical mindset. Educators must model responsible AI use and guide students in critical evaluation, fairness, and transparency. And embedding ethics in our curriculum and providing continuous training helps build an ethical culture around AI. Now, the key takeaways here is, okay, I've stopped sharing my screen. The key takeaways here is AI. We have to understand that AI is a powerful tool and it is not a replacement for human effort. We also have to understand that to use AI ethically, we need to enhance our understanding and we have to, like, we shouldn't shortcut learning. Now, we need to protect privacy and sensitive information when using AI platforms. Then policies, accountability, and education are crucial for responsible AI adoption in both academia and society. And then ethical awareness must be actively cultivated in both students and educators to prepare for the challenges AI presents in the future. So I believe with this, we've come to the end of today's presentation. If anybody has any, we've come to the end of today's presentation. So thank you very much, Director, for having me. I really appreciate the audience and the opportunity to really talk to my peers on the ethical use of AI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for this marvelous presentations. Thank you very much for the time. We sincerely appreciate your efforts. So it's time to ask questions, whether through the chat or you can raise up your hand as usual, and then you ask your questions. So please, we just have 5 minutes to do that. Okay, yeah, we just have 5 to 10 minutes. So please, Doctor is available to answer our questions. You just unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Before asking questions from the participant, Doctor, is there
Yeah.
any referencing and in-text patterns developed either by APA or other referencing styles?
Sorry, I'm not sure I get that question. That's why I was using the headphone.
Yeah, what I'm saying before, what I'm trying to ask is there any referencing style developed by APA or any other referencing style as far as utilization of AI?
I'll have to apologize again because my headphone was connecting while you were speaking, so I didn't.
Okay, so
So,
should I write it?
no, just say it again. My headphone was connected, so I didn't really.
What I'm saying is, can you guide us on the referencing style, either the in-text or the reference style of at least the upper, which is more we are more familiar with?
Okay, you're talking about referencing style when
Yeah,
maybe
when we using
citing,
citing
you're writing a research
material.
and all
Yeah,
of that using
yes,
the referencing style. So are
yes.
you specifically asking for a tool that can help you do that? Is that the question? Or
No. As per maybe I use ChatGPT to develop to write something or to get material. I want to now put it in my report. So I need to
yeah,
refer to it. So I, as a person, not using another tool.
you want to reference, I understand what you're saying
Yeah,
now. You want
yeah.
to reference
So material I got from AI.
or material you got from AI. I honestly don't. I think the way you reference a material you get from AI is going to be the same way you reference materials you get from just a random site, maybe. Since
Okay,
it's not a journal where you mention this, like if you are referencing a newspaper.
It's okay.
So,
Okay. I came across materials because I'm developing a textbook, a manual, more say a kind of textbook
mm,
on this prompting engineering in academia. Because
okay,
we realize most of our problem is in that issue of prompting. The
prompting,
tools
yes,
are yeah, the tools are available, but we don't know how to utilize
how
and
to,
make use of it
yes.
effectively. So I came across some referencing style given by the upper seventh edition. So I thought maybe in the course of this discussion, we are going to discuss
We're
it.
going to talk about how to
Yeah.
reference. Honestly, I haven't seen any form of referencing AI, but I just made the assumption that if you are referencing AI, you reference it just like how if you are reporting, you're citing how you access maybe a newspaper or something where you just mentioned the newspaper
Okay.
the day it was accessed. Maybe like we access it today, 16th December 2025, the time. So you mentioned that and possibly
Okay.
the prompt. But then if you're also putting the prompt in there, it's going to be a very long reference. But I think you
Yeah.
need to include the prompt that you get that information from.
Well, permit me to share a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe then we can let me just share uh, a little bit with my colleagues.
Okay. Okay, should
Yeah.
I share
Yeah.
my screen? Okay.
No, I will share the screen with you. Well,
Okay, no, I
okay.
think I need to stop sharing my screen before you'll
Yeah,
be able
yeah,
to share.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. That is what I'm trying to. So let me just share. Where is it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So I don't know. Maybe you're seeing my
Yes, we
screen.
can see your screen. Yes.
Yes. So this is something I searched some days back.
Mm,
The practical citation format. Because we wanted to discourage the plagiarism, which is now
mm,
so rampant in the utilization of
yes.
the AI. So in the upper seven style, the
Mm,
in-text is what they are now saying is they are taking the the owners of these AI tools to be the authors of the material gotten from chatting with the tool.
mhm,
Like for example, ChatGPT, the OpenAI, they are the owner, so they take him to be the author. And then the year here is telling us the year that I chatted with the AI tool. And then at the reference sections, then they said it's open AI, which will happen to be the auto, which is normal the way we have been doing it. Then the year in parentheses, then the chat GPT, which is the tool I used.
mm,
Then March 14 version.
mm.
These tools are being updated day after day. Like today,
Yes.
I saw ChatGPT produce another version 5.2. So the
Mm.
large language model, and then the link. For every chat, there is a link
Yes, there's a
that
link.
yeah. So we expect the participant to go here. I don't know, maybe they're seeing it. Here you can be able to. This is my interaction with ChatGPT. So here is where I'm going to get the link. I will copy the link. When you copy the link, then you go and place it there at the. So immediately somebody click the link, it will take him to the chat there in the ChatGPT. So that is the upper style. Then when it comes to the MLA style, they say, okay, the ninth style, the in-text is explain the causes. That is the front that somebody used to get the material. So explain that, and that. Then the work cited, explain the causes, and then the front, and this one. So I think this is an area where the academia and the researchers as well, we need to get ourselves what is called ready to use, because this is one of the easiest way to avoid plagiarism.
Ethical use,
Because
yes.
nowadays most of us are getting material without citing, and uh, we are taking the ownership, and sometimes the hallucinations, that is this tool to provide you with nonsense, with confidence, is so rampant. And most of us
Mm,
nowadays, I'm sorry to use that word, we are lazy, we don't want to go through it. even to know what these machines are producing. So I think I'm encouraging, and by what our able facilitator have just introduced us to, we need to go in depth and understand how to cite, because this is one of the way, and also it will enhance transparency and accountability in the utilization of this AI. That is just what I want to call our attention, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I really wasn't aware that there is a new way of citing AI. I just knew that for ethical use of AI tools, you need to be transparent about using these tools and you need to cite them. So I didn't know that APA has actually produced a way of citing AI generated
AI
materials. Yes.
materials, exactly,
So,
exactly.
and this is
So
really a very good development because
it is.
at the end of the day, when you click this link specifically, it shows you what prompts a person uses.
Direct.
For research students, you give a student assignment, they just go and copy
And
ChatGPT
everything.
generated reports and all of that. So when we're talking about assessing students based on the process and not really the outcome of their assignments or whatever project you give them, what you need to access is the process. So this is one of the tools, one of the ways that we can really access it, because if you have the link to the chat that that person has with AI, you can see his thought process, how he prompts the system, how he prompts AI to give it whatever information it gives it. And
Yes.
that is really a very good improvement
Yeah,
to make
They
our life a
just
lot
it is.
easier. Because normally, even if you ask what prompt, how did you prompt GPT to give you this? They can't explain how they
They
prompt it.
can't.
So
They can't.
yes,
Most of the
yes,
people they can't. They can't. And this issue of institutional policy, the next seminar, this is what the online training is going to handle.
yes.
So seminar number 6, which is coming up on Tuesday and sorry on Thursday, in the next 2 days, is all about institutional policy.
Institutional policy,
AI,
yes,
yeah.
institutional
So
framework.
we're expecting even this assignment. We have already posted with 3 practical assignments. We
Okay,
asked the participant to develop at least briefly, in no more than some certain number of our pages, to develop AI, ethical utilization of AI in their various organizations. And we
okay,
believe here at the Nubo Mali, we have already gone far in
okay.
developing the AI
The
policy
ethical.
as far as
Okay, that's beautiful.
we were on it. We are 4 in number in the committee, so
Okay,
we're working towards producing that
an
into
AI
the committee.
policy.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
developing the framework
We have
to
already
implement.
individually we have developed the policies, but we want to come and harmonize it because we attended a program together. So in that program, we are tasked to produce AI policies for our various institutions. So we wanted to now collect this individual submission we made, the 4 of us, then we'll harmonize it, and then we'll present it to the management and academic board for onward approval, and then we
You know,
move
the
into.
issue is most institutions have these policies, but then the problem with policy is implementation.
That is it. That is it. That is it. That is it.
Or
But
hopefully.
there's no way to go about it than to make sure that we take our various institutions in
Into
line with the
consideration.
global uh,
Yes,
uh, standards. This
yes.
morning I was reading that most of the professors and lecturers, and is it in UK, they now
Mm.
abundant written examination. They will call their student to come and do the exams or
Honestly, it's not just schools in UK and all. In my department here, I can't remember the last time I marked pen and paper. We give you oral exams, you give a project, because whatever you do, these students are going to use AI to do this thing. So give them a project. At least they will have a better understanding of whatever they're presenting if they know that they're defending their work physically. So it's always an oral exams, whatever you present, I've read it, I've
already.
seen it. Now
Uh,
defend your work.
interview missions, institution, or work with this AI because AI has.
It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. And if I'm being honest, I actually encourage students to use AI. And give them a project. Tell them you can go and use AI, but just be sure that you come and defend everything. Whatever it is that you submit, you should be able to defend. I think my network is probably lost.
Come to see. We just have to see how. But maybe we any question, please, participants.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have a question regarding your presentation, sir, about the AI referencing system. So in a situation whereby I got a material from a journal article through the AI, so how do I do this kind of in-text citation? Because it's a journal, and the journal is owned by some individuals who are supposed to be cited, but I got it through an AI tool. So how can I cite this kind of
Well, I
material?
think
Thank
this,
you.
if you get a journal through AI, I believe the AI would have just told you this journal exists that is talking about whatever topic you want to discuss. So you go and look for that journal and then you use that journal. So what you need to reference there is the journal and not the guide that AI gave you, because AI did its job there, which is helping you find resources and helping you understand some of these things. What you need to reference in this situation is the journal and not AI, really. When we say you reference AI, is when strictly what you are presenting is AI information, not something that has a source. If I'm being like, I'm not even sure what I can cite that you use strictly AI developed content, because when I'm using AI, I usually ask AI to guide me to the sources of this information, and I ask for links. Give me a link I can click on to take me to that information. And in situations like that, what I need to reference is not ChatGPT or Claude that gave me this information, but rather the paper, the author of that particular information, because in this situation, you used AI as a tool. I'm not sure if that made sense.
It makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Thank you.
Makes sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Next question, please. Hello,
I think that
Muhammad
that's
Ismail.
my
I think they don't have. Doctor, we would like to have your phone number so that we'll add you to the group, because normally the discussions and the other interactions continues in the WhatsApp group.
okay.
Maybe some of the participants will put down their questions there. Manshitu, are you trying to ask questions?
So I dropped the contact in the chat bot.
Okay. So I'll use it. Then we add it to. So at this point in
Okay,
time,
thank
because
you.
it's already almost time for prayer, we would like to thank our facilitator in person of Dr. Nafisa Shehu Usman. Thank you very much for finding your time to be with us this afternoon, and also for all the knowledge you share with us. We pray to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase it in knowledge, health, and wisdom to continue advancing the knowledge of artificial intelligence. Here at Nuba Mali Polytechnic area, we quite appreciate, and also the participant, the collaborations with this International Institute of Online Educations. So we wish you all the best. And inshallah, the discussion will continue in our platform. Also, we are going to share we have recorded all the session, so we are going to share the video in our YouTube channel. We will provide you with the link for that video, so that you can also share it with your other colleagues that may also need these very important sessions. So thank you very much. Then to participants, thank you very much also as usual for finding time to be with us this afternoon. As I said earlier on, we have already posted the assignment for week 3, practical assignment for week 3. And in view of the observations, the excuses, and the complaint we received, especially last week, we have made it now to the submission. The assignment to start on Tuesday, not Wednesday, and it will end on Saturday by 12 midnight, inshallah. So please take your time, do it gradually. We have 4 tasks. If you can be able to segregate these 4 tasks into 1, 2, 3 days, you can be able to finish them. So please, that rush hour, and then we come up complaining that please it should be extended, it should be extended. You know, it's not going to be feasible. We have done it this week, but this week, last week, sorry, we're not going to do it again. So please, we encourage you to take your assignment and do it gradually. That is how you can be able to get the objective of giving you the assignments. The objective is what? To allow you to apply what you learn here practically. And if you just go and rushed and then submit, then the aim is going to be defeated. So please take your time and do your assignment as usual. Thank you very much for all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless us in all our endeavor, in our life, our studies, and our struggles. Thank you very much all. Bye-bye.